Hey everyone! All right, our math lesson today is going to take what we've done in previous lessons, learning how to read the scale, right, using kilograms. We're going to use that information to compare the masses of more than one object now. Which one's more, right? Which one's less? How much more? How much less? So, really not a lot of new territory going on today other than now that you've measured one thing, you're going to be asked to compare two things and use words like these. So I thought it would be kind of good just to spend a little bit of time with vocabulary. Okay? So, sure, you could say more and less, and you'll see that in problems, which one's more, which one's less. But you'll more often, especially when they're talking about weight, they'll say which one is heavier. Heavier means more heavy, more, right? Whereas they might say lighter to mean less, right? You might say which one is the greatest. That's like if you're comparing maybe three or more objects. So notice here, they're using a different ending to talk about many objects. Or least, that's another one that would be used to talk about two or more objects, maybe even three or more. You might find some objects that are equal in size, right? So I know it's kind of blurry here, but I'm going to go ahead and just help you read these. So here is 2 and here is 4. So I know this is 2. I know this is 4. It's right in the middle. So most of the time on a scale like this, they don't put all the numbers. They can't fit them in there. Like even now it's so tiny you can't see it. If you put more numbers, it just makes the scale look more and more busy. So is there some way we could figure out what number comes between 2 kilograms up here and 4 kilograms, because that's the number we're looking for. Package Y is exactly 3 kg or kilograms. Same thing over here, except now it's either 8 kilograms or 6 kilograms. So it's not 8, it's not 6. It's kind of right in between those. Is there a way you can figure out the number that is between 6 and 8? Yeah, they're just skipping one of the numbers. It always goes 5, 6, 7, 8. So what number should be there is the 7. So here we have one that is 7 kilograms. Pretty easier to figure out which one is lighter. Package Y. Pretty easy to figure out which one is heavier, right? Package X. But the tough question is going to be when they say, oh, how much heavier is it? And that's where they're asking you to compare. I suggest you think about those two weights as bars in a model. One of the packages is a 7. The other package is a 5. When they ask you how much more or how much less, it really is the same question. They're not asking you for the information we know. They're asking you to compare the two things we know and to figure out what would have to happen to make those objects weigh the same. Well, you would need more added to this one, or you would need some taken away from this one to make them the same size, the same weight. So, when you have two numbers like this, in a bar model, you can either add or you can subtract these numbers. So look at the size of our answer that we're going to need. The difference between these two numbers is not big. The difference, when you compare them, is really small, actually. So do you think I'm going to add my numbers and get 12 kilograms as a difference? Or do you think it makes more sense to subtract to see what part is missing? Well, this box to me is smaller than a 5, right? 5 is this big. the answer I'm looking for is smaller than a 5. So if I'm looking at these two, the 2 makes sense to me. It makes sense with this problem. And I'll show you why. 5 plus 2, 6, is the same as 7. And that's what they're asking. What would you have to do to the 5 to make it the 7? Well, I'd have to add 2 more. It's 2 less. I need more, right? And that's what they're asking for when they're asking you to compare these objects. You're going to be asked to do that for some oranges and some potatoes, answering some questions. How much does this one weigh? How much does that one weigh? Which is more? And then they're going to say, how much more, right? Or they could do something else. They could say, oh yeah, I want you to take all your oranges, and then I want you to take all your potatoes and put them together. Here they're asking what is the total, right? So they're not having you compare them and figuring out what has to change or, to make them the same. Instead, they want you to put all of your oranges together with your potatoes, and you're going to get a really big answer. Well, I'm going to tell you that when you're looking for a big whole, you have the orange part, you have the potato part, but you're missing the whole thing. It makes sense to add those together in order to get the whole thing. Just like it did on the page before, it made sense to subtract because we weren't looking for the whole. We were looking for one tiny part. So if you're looking for a tiny part, we subtract. If you're looking for a great big whole, we add. I'm going to go ahead and do the first couple of these with you. Just so you know, in Seesaw today, I'm going to give you a few different scales and ask you a few questions about them. They're going to look like this. You're going to have a chicken, a fish, and some vegetables. You're going to have to put them in order from the littlest to the medium, all the way to the heaviest. Here you'll have 2 scales that people are getting on, and these scales are tricky. Remember, the numbers are not there in every case. So you might have to count 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, right? To get to where the weight is being shown. These are not super easy. I would zoom in on these if I were you and really think about what each one of these lines means. Okay? You're going to have to ask or answer questions about mass using the scales that we stand on, using the scales at the grocery store, and maybe even a balance scale, though this is kind of a fun extra one that we might just do together. Okay? So, in Seesaw today, I want you to try some of these for me. Sounds good? If you would like to stay on and do these first couple with me, you may. Otherwise, you can take off and start working on Seesaw. Okay? All right, let's talk about the mass of the oranges. How much are the oranges? Here are the oranges. They are, exactly 2. Easy. They are 2 kg, kilograms. What is the mass of the potatoes? What is the mass of the potatoes? Well, in this case, it's beyond the 2. It's all the way, there it goes. All the way up to the 3 kilograms. Which bag is heavier? Well, right? 3 is bigger than 2, so the bag of potatoes are heavier. And this is not like some sort of writing thing, but if you want to go ahead and try to write potatoes on the line, I might run out of room. I made it. How much heavier is it? Okay, so hold on a second here. So there is my 2. There is my 3. Am I asking you how much do they weigh in all? Not for number 4. Number 5, I want you to do your 2 and your 3 and put them together. But for number 4, I don't want you to do that. What do I want you to do for number 4 is I want you to have your 2 and your 3 drawn like this. And they're asking you, hey, how much heavier is that one? If I wanted to make them the same, what would have to happen? I just need that little part, right? So do you think I add the numbers to get that little part? Or do you think I subtract the numbers to get that little part? Yeah. And it makes sense because 2 plus a little bit makes 3. Math is always going to make sense when you have those bar models. The number you get should fit the bar. So if you're getting a really big answer and your box is really small, something's fishy. And it might help you to take a second look. Okay? I hope that gets you started anyway with comparing our mass in kilograms. Thanks, everybody. Bye now.